So I'd like to bring in Randi Weingarten now. She is the president of the American Federation of Teachers. Hi, Randi. Welcome. Great to see you again. You know, as we mentioned, this is the third.
Hello. Today I present to you an extremely attractive application for music lovers. It's completely free. You can listen to music online or download unlimited music to use whenever you don't have internet. The powerful search function helps you find anything you want. Trust me. It's hard not to find what you're looking for because the search function is really powerful. Application download link is attached in the description of the video. I'm pretty sure you'll like it. Thanks.
School year, students are heading back to the classroom dealing with the coronavirus. Where do school preparations stand compared to this time last year? Are districts in a better place, or are they now scrambling because of the Delta variant?
So they are in a much, much, much better place, even though the Delta variant is a huge curve. I mean, it's a big curveball for those who like sports analogies. But we're in a much better place. What I said in May about reopening fully this fall remains the same. The single most important tool that we have has been the vaccines. For my membership, 90% of my members, 9 out of 10 of them, have had the vaccine since April. And and what we need to do now, and this is why school districts are scrambling some right now because of what's happened in the last 3 weeks, is that there needs to be more layered mitigation because of the transmissibility of the Delta and because kids under 12 don't yet have access to the vaccine. So it means that there's going to be more masks in schools than, people probably thought at the beginning of July. And it means that we have to take very seriously the 3-foot rule in terms of social distancing. And because of the more masks, we have to make sure that the ventilation systems are really, really good. This is scaring a lot of people. And I think everybody last week took a step back to say, okay, what does this mean? Number one, and I want to be as clear as I can, it doesn't mean a retreat from going back to school. We're going back to school. And we all want to be back to school. And it's really important for our kids to be back to school with the resources that they need to make it safe and welcoming and to deal with emotional and social issues and obviously accelerating achievement. But number two, we got to actually have the kind of layered mitigation that literally, I think in June, we didn't think was necessary. In June, we thought you'd wear a mask if you weren't vaccinated. And that's what the scramble is right now, because we have to make sure that everybody is safe.
Well, to your point, though, why are you not recommending a vaccine mandate for teachers? I know a lot of parents and local officials are upset about this, as you pointed out, because children under 12 can't get vaccinated. There are other districts. Denver just mandated that all of its teachers and school personnel should be vaccinated. For instance, other districts have done so. You mentioned that 90% of your teachers are, but what about that other 10%? Parents are saying, I am happy to be vaccinated. I'm happy to get my children vaccinated, but I want to guarantee that my child's teacher will also be vaccinated.
Look, we are working with districts all across the country with their with what they're talking about in terms of vaccines. And frankly, every place that has asked us to do the work to get either a vaccine mandate or to have vaccines or testing, we've been able to work this out. The issue is, how do we make sure that we don't have the polarization and the backlash that we're also seeing in terms of the mask mandates? This is about how do we get not only the educator holdouts, but how do we get all of the holdouts, with exceptions of medical or, religious reasons, to actually take that shot in the arm. And we're working on that right now. We're actually doing a Back to School for All campaign right now in 30 states. I'm visiting 5 states. I'm in Montana right now. I'm visiting 7 states this week. We're standing up vaccine clinics. We're talking to our members. We're trying to get everyone to a position where they want to take a vaccine. And ultimately, we will be considering what the alternatives are afterwards, just like Denver did. But up until now, what Joe Biden has said about vaccines are subject to testing, we agree with. What Bill de Blasio has said, vaccines are subject to testing, we agree with. We just, the polarization is such that we have to organize, we got to convince, we got to make sure, first and foremost, that everyone feels good about walking into the buildings and staying in the buildings this year.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I know a lot of parents who would say, you know what, if it's between my teacher being vaccinated or not being vaccinated, I'd prefer that not vaccinated teacher be replaced. That's how strongly a lot of parents feel about it.
Look, I understand. I'm one of these people personally. I believe everybody should be vaxxed. And I understand the sentiment in the last 3 weeks and what has changed. But we got to make sure we problem solve it so that by the start of school everywhere, people feel great about walking into school, even with the variant. That's our job for parents, and that's our job for educators, and that's most importantly our job for children.
And then what are the biggest concerns you're hearing then from teachers ahead of the new school year? They, I'm sure, are following the news about the Delta variant and are probably on board with the masking. Are they worried about things like ventilation and sort of buildings not being up to snuff yet?
Yeah, I mean, teachers are worried about look, we just did I guess it was in the spring. I'm losing track of my months, sorry. In the spring, we did a study with Rand that found that 78% of teachers were really stressed about what happened this past year, about twice as much as the other adult workforce. And so people are concerned about whether ventilation systems have been upgraded. Everybody's been very concerned about what this new Delta variant means and what it's going to mean in terms of our classrooms. But we're also concerned about making sure that we have not just the safety conditions, but all the other conditions that kids need to have a good school year, low enough class sizes so that we can meet the academic and social and emotional needs for kids, the wraparound services, making sure that we have broadband not only in schools, but kids have it at home. What happens if there's an outbreak?
Right.
So there's lots of concerns that people have, but ultimately we're driving to a problem-solving approach that has everyone all in and working together and not letting the extremes on any side distract us from making sure that we have a good school year.
And most parents and kids are very, very happy about the fact that they're going back to in-person school.
Yeah.
But do you think for those outliers who have specific health concerns or who are really, really worried, do you think remote learning will still be an option, especially in those places that are seeing surging Delta cases?
I think it should still be an option. I know there are some school districts that have said yes and some that have said no. I think that, first off, what we're seeing is that there's a lot of parents that are still showing some reluctance about whether or not their kids will be safe. And I'm surprised at the numbers we're seeing in polling. And I think that we need to have a remote option. What you can't do is you can't have a hybrid option. So if there's a remote option, it should be remote. If there's in school, it should be in school. And the remote option should be limited. But for some people this year, particularly since kids under 12 don't have access to the vaccine, I think it's in order.
And are teachers preparing for a year where students will be coming into the classroom from all different levels? Because we do know, sadly, that one of the repercussions of last year is that some kids did get left a bit behind if their internet access wasn't that great or they weren't able to adjust well to the online learning experience. So are teachers anticipating that they may be dealing with very different levels in the fall?
Yes. I mean, that's part of what we do all the time in terms of heterogeneous grouping anyway. But part of what we've wanted to do, which is why we thought we needed to have actually more latitude about testing at the end of the last school year. So we actually figured out where each of our kids were and did essentially an individual education plan for them for the summer and for this school year, is we're going to have to figure out where our kids are. We're going to have to do those kind of assessments quickly. And we're going to have to build school years and to accelerate learning and to have kids really not just at their own pace, but really, and I hate using the word catch up, but really have a very good school year. But kids are going to be in totally different places, and but what I'm most concerned about is kids' mental and emotional well-being, and making sure that the socialization is there for kids and they see their friends and that they feel confident again about being with other people. Because the academics will come when kids want to be in school. So my kind of North Star is, how do you make every single school a place where parents want to send their kids, educators want to work, and kids thrive and they're engaged? Because when a child wakes up in the morning and says, I want to be in school, you're going to have a very different kind of situation when the child, feels like really scared about everything.
Right, absolutely. Well, Randi Weingarten, thank you so much. I know you have a lot to do to get prepared for the fall. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.